So maybe you started January strong. You were eating right, working out, doing all the things, and now it's February and you're exhausted. The motivation's gone, life is getting in the way, and you're thinking, here we go again. I am failing at this. My friend, you are not failing. You just need a plan for when things go sideways. And that's exactly what we're talking about today. Welcome to the Biking Wellness Podcast. I'm your host, Stacy Smith, and I lost 50 pounds riding my bike by focusing on what my body can do. Now, I teach other women how to do the same. I am obsessed with completely flipping the script on weight loss so that we can work out to feel good and feel strong. If you are ready to stop dieting, learn how to appreciate your body, and have fun riding your bike, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Hello, my wonderful friend. Welcome back to the podcast. And if you're just joining us for the very first time, I want to send an extra special and warm welcome to you. Welcome to the Biking Wellness community. I am so glad that you are here. So today we're talking about what to do when your January motivation starts to fade. And if you're listening to this in early February, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Here's what happens. January rolls around and there's all this New Year's resolution energy. Let's make this year different. Let's do all the things. Let's do them all right. And we come out the gate strong, eating right, exercising more, doing all of the things. And then as the month goes on, the motivation starts to fade. Life gets in the way, and we realize we just can't sustain all of that goodness all of the time. And here's the problem. We made a plan in January for the perfect version of ourselves, but we didn't make a contingency plan for when things fall apart. We didn't plan for when we get tired, when we get sick of indoor workouts, when February hits and it's so cold that the weatherman literally says, don't go outside today if you don't have to. I kid you not, my husband and I have been alternately kind of putting on winter hats inside today. That's how cold it is. It was -1 degree when we woke up this morning. The wind chill made it worse, and I'm supposed to motivate myself off the couch to work out, to make a healthy meal when all I want is comfort food. So when the cards are stacked against you like this, what are you going to do? How do you keep moving forward? That is what our focus is of this particular episode today. And here we go. The problem is that we plan for perfect. Most of us do this wrong when we set goals in January. We plan for our best selves on our best days. We plan for the days when we feel great, we have energy, we have time to meal prep, to get all of our workouts in. But what we don't do is we don't plan for our worst days. We don't plan for the days when we're exhausted, when the kids are sick, when we're sick, when work is insane, when it's so cold outside we can't even go for a walk, when we just want to sit on the couch and melt into it and eat comfort food and not think about anything else at all. And then when those days happen, we feel like we are failing. We think, well, I already blew it. I might as well give up. But here is what I want you to know. Those hard days, those are the days that you actually need a plan for. Those are the days that we need to focus on. Because if you only have a plan for the days that are perfect, where you have all of the time in the world to focus on yourself, you are going to quit the moment things get hard. And again, there is nothing wrong with you. There is something wrong with your plan. So that's what we need to fix. So here is the solution. You need to figure out what your minimum baseline is. This is what I want you to do. I want you to figure out what you are going to do when nothing is going right. What are the kind of 1, 2, maybe 3 things that you might be able to do when everything else goes sideways? Not like when you're having a perfect day, when you have all of the time in the world. What are you going to do on your worst day? What is the one thing that you can do to move forward and make progress that day? So for me, my kind of 3 things when I am struggling are getting enough water, getting enough sleep, and focusing on eating when I am hungry and stopping when I am satisfied, when I have had enough. Some days, that's all I can do is those 3 things. Sometimes I can't even do all 3. Sometimes it's just water. Sometimes my go-to is always I can drink water and I can make sure that I get enough water in. So the idea is that what I have as my minimum baseline might not necessarily work for you. You have to kind of think about when push comes to shove and I can't really do much of anything else, what am I going to do? Because if I can't do all three of those things, like for example, sometimes sleep is really tricky for me, then I go to what's easiest. I go to the water. Notice I'm not trying to work out on my minimum baseline days, but you might want to. Maybe for you, that minimum baseline is a 5-minute walk in the fresh air. Maybe it's a 10-minute stretch or yoga session. Maybe it's just putting on your workout clothes, even if you don't actually work out, just that feeling of putting on those workout clothes, and maybe you're walking around the house more. The point is that you get to decide what your minimum is. Maybe for you, it's just making sure that you get out of bed and you go and you sit on the couch and you move around your house a little bit. You get to decide. And here's the beautiful thing about having a minimum baseline. It just keeps you moving forward. It doesn't make you perfect. It makes you continue to be in the habit of moving forward with your health and wellness goals, because something is always better than nothing. Okay? So I hope this is helping you, and I hope that you're starting to realize, and if you're in this place in February where you're having a really hard time moving forward and you're maybe a little down on yourself about not making as much progress as you wanted to make already on your 2026 goals, we have to kind of work with ourselves right now. So my next suggestion to you is to shift the way that you are thinking about your moving forward, about what you need to do to move forward. And what that means is I want you to think about how to be persistent at starting again, as opposed to beating yourself up over not being consistent enough. So let me back up a little bit and explain this. A couple of months ago, I heard this concept, this idea being talked about on a podcast. I really wish I could remember what podcast it was. I am still thinking about it and thinking about this advice because I just think it is so on point. Here's the deal. At the end of the day, we don't need to be consistent and perfect with our workouts and our food choices in order to move forward. We hear that terminology of consistency all of the freaking time. Like, oh, I just need to be consistent. Oh, I need to move forward. The only way to do that is to be consistent. And we don't need to be consistent. We need to be persistent. In other words, we need to start getting really good at starting again when we fall off. So when you stop doing the things that are helping you move forward with your health, with your wellness. Maybe you have a weekend where you just kind of say, screw it, and you eat everything in sight, and you have time to work out, but you don't bother because you don't freaking feel like it. Being persistent means that when you wake up on Monday morning, you say to yourself, you know what? Weekend didn't go the way I wanted it to, and it's over. That's okay. There's nothing I can do about it now. I can make today different. I can make Monday different. I can start again, because here's the thing. The only difference between someone who loses their weight and moves forward with their health and fitness and wellness goals and someone who doesn't is that the person who loses weight and moves forward does not give up. They don't eat perfectly. They don't work out every single day. They don't do everything right, but they always keep going. They keep starting again. And I think that is such an important thing for us to embrace and for us to think about, because we always have this perception of everyone else having everything together. They're posting on the Instagram all of their fantastic meal prep, and they're posting all of their workouts on the Facebook, and you're just looking at all this stuff and you're like, what is wrong with me that I can't motivate to do the things that these people are doing? And here's the thing, even the people who seem like they're doing everything perfect, they aren't. I promise you, they are not doing everything perfect all of the time. Social media, as we all know, is a highlight reel. We are seeing people at their absolute best. So make sure that you are thinking about that when you are starting to feel really down on yourself about not making the kind of progress that you want to make. All you have to do is start. All you have to do is get good at starting again. So if, like I said, you ate too much over the weekend, you have a plan for starting again on Monday. If you skipped your workouts all week because life got crazy, You have a plan for getting back at it. You're going to say, okay, you know what? I skipped my workouts all week. I'm still not motivated. I want to skip again today, but maybe I'm just going to put on my workout clothes. Maybe I'm just going to commit to a 5-minute strength training session, a 5-minute bike ride, a 5-minute walk around the neighborhood. I'm just going to do something today that moves me forward and helps me progress. So just get back into it. Get good at starting again. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be persistent. And that is what makes all of the difference. Okay, let's get practical and let's get strategic with our planning. I want you to make 2 plans. I want you to think about a plan for yourself when you're at your best and a plan for yourself when you are not. So plan A is your ideal plan. The plan for when things are going great. When you're feeling great, you're not feeling sick, you're not feeling bloated. I'm feeling a little bloated today, I'm not going to lie. When you have time to eat right, get enough water, get enough sleep, get all your workouts in, that is your plan A. However, you also need to have a plan B. Plan B is your minimum baseline. This is the plan for when everything goes wrong, when you're exhausted, when you're sick, when life is chaotic, when it's freezing cold and you just want to stay on the couch. What are you going to do on those days? I would love for you to write this down. I know that we have kind of moved away from the pen and paper and we're so electronic and we have little notes apps in our phones. And if that works for you, great. I'm personally a pen and paper kind of girl. I really like to write things down. And I have my plan A and I have my plan B. My plan A includes all of my workouts for the week. It has 2 to 3 strength training workouts. It has 2 to 3 bike rides in it. My plan B, as I mentioned before, it's water, sleep, eating when I'm hungry, and stopping when I've had enough. And sometimes I can't even do all of those 3. So the idea is that plan B is when everything goes wrong, what are you going to do on those days? Write it down, make it simple, make it doable. Because when you have a plan for your worst days, you keep moving forward. And that's what matters. Real, sustainable weight loss and growth and fitness and health, it happens on our worst days. We think it happens on our best days when we're doing everything right, but it really doesn't. It happens on those days where we can barely get ourselves together, but we reach for that glass of water and we say, you know what? I can drink an extra glass of water today. You know what? I can get to bed 15 minutes earlier today. You know what? I have no control over what this particular meal is, but I'm hungry and I'm going to eat. And I'm going to check in with myself and I'm going to stop when I had enough. When you have a plan for your worst days, that's when you keep moving forward. Okay, so those are some really practical strategies, but let's just have a little bit of a reality check here too. February is hard. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. The New Year's energy is gone. It's cold. It's dark. We're tired of being inside. We're tired of trying so freaking hard to move forward. And this is when a lot of people give up. But you are not going to do that. You do not have to give up. You can absolutely do this. And even if you don't think you can, that's fine. Let me be the one who believes that you can. The idea here is to adjust your expectations of what is possible for you in this stage, in this season right now. Give yourself permission to do a little bit less, to focus on your minimum baseline, to be persistent instead of perfect. Because when you do that, you still move forward. When you beat yourself up and you say to yourself, like, what is the matter with you? Why can't you just get downstairs into the basement and work out? I actually had this conversation with someone last week where they were saying, I don't understand why I can't do it. And the answer is because you have built it up in your head to something that it just isn't. You have made it harder than it has to be. Just start really small. Just commit to putting on those workout clothes. And then say, you know what? I've got the clothes on anyway. Maybe I'm just going to do 5 minutes. And if you don't beat yourself up. Full disclosure here. Yesterday, I got dressed in the morning in my workout clothes. I did not work out yesterday. The day completely got away from me. And I walked around in my sports bra all day, which I find to be very uncomfortable. I am not going to lie. But I did it and I never worked out. And 7:30 rolled around and I checked in with myself and I said, hey, are we going to do this today? And my honest answer with myself was no. It was no, we're not going to do this today, but we will do it first thing tomorrow. I just was like, you know what? Today's shot and that's okay. I'm going to start again tomorrow. And that's all that you, my friend, have to do. The idea is just to adjust your expectations. Give yourself permission to do a little bit less and focus on that minimum baseline. And this isn't failing. This isn't giving up. This is being realistic about what you can actually do. Yesterday, I just didn't have it in me to do a bike ride or a strength workout. I just didn't. By the time, things got, like I said, things got crazy. There was stuff I did that I didn't plan on doing yesterday. And then it just didn't work out. And that's okay. All right. So if that's happening to you right now, just remind yourself these things happen. This is okay. Now, if you're listening to this and you're thinking, Stacy, I need help figuring out what my plan should be. I need help figuring out my plan A and my plan B. I need help getting started again. I hear you. If you are listening in real time, if you are listening in February of 2026, I do actually have a couple one-on-one coaching slots available this week. So we can work together to create a plan that actually fits your schedule and your life. Not the perfect version of your life, your actual life with all of the chaos and the hard days and the exhaustion. You will get weekly check-ins with me. You will have daily text or email support, whichever you prefer. And you will most importantly have someone in your corner rooting for you, helping you figure all of this out and holding you accountable. And if this sounds like what you need, just email me at stacy@sassy.com. That's STACY @SASCY.com, or DM me on Instagram at Sassy Cycling, SASCY Cycling, with the word interested, and I will reply and we will chat and we will figure out what works best for you. Okay, my friend? Here's what I want you to take away from this episode. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be persistent. You need to be willing to start again. You need a plan for your worst days, not just your best days. Figuring out your minimum baseline and when life gets hard, that is what is going to get you there. Keep it simple. Keep moving forward. And remember, something is always better than nothing. A 5-minute workout is better than no workout. Doing some chores around the house is better than just sitting on the couch. And eating when you're hungry and stopping when you've had enough is better than just saying screw it and shoveling all of the food in the pantry in your face. Trust me, I know this. I have been there. I have spent a good amount of time figuring this out, and I'm promising you that if you keep moving forward, if you keep it simple, if you figure out your minimum baseline, then you are going to be just fine. Okay? February's hard, but you don't have to give up. And you just have to get good at starting again. Pick one thing from today's episode. Maybe it's figuring out your minimum baseline. Maybe it's giving yourself permission to do less. Maybe it's just deciding that you're going to be persistent instead of feeling like you have to be consistently perfect. And go ahead and email me, DM me. Let me know what you are going to do when you can do literally nothing else. What is your minimum baseline going to be? You've got this. And I am here and cheering for you every single step of the way. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of the Biking Wellness Podcast. Be sure to head on over to sassy.com/guide, SASCY.com/guide, to get my completely free Lose Weight Biking Quick Start Guide so that you can get started with simple, doable weight loss today. That's SASCY.com/guide.